If you had asked me to say what was my favorite musical that was a movie, it definitely wouldn't be Ryan Murphy's The Prom. I'm Chatham Chawns, and I review movies. This is how I act as a person. The Prom is not a good movie. I think I like Marvel movies. My videos get millions of views. So it doesn't really matter what I do and don't like. Let's count out those movie sins. Do we have 20 more minutes? Don't forget to like and subscribe.
It's news time. Delivering to you the news you didn't know about, the news you didn't care about, and the news you didn't know you cared about. With host, Chad White. Now, here's that host, Chad White.
Welcome back to News Time. I'm your host, Chad White, and this is the Broadway at Home news that you didn't know about. Okay, what's today's News Time covering? The Ryan Murphy The Prom movie on Netflix? I forgot to watch. So I guess I don't do that. Look, it's tough to sit down to watch a movie. Why do that when in that time I can watch 4 episodes of Happy Endings? Again, like every day of my life. Fine, I'll do it, but I won't enjoy it. Oh man, and I was right. Phew, did I not enjoy that. Jamie Lee Curtis had to watch all of her friends die on prom night. First, all that trouble on those Halloweens, and now this? Will she ever catch a break? And there wasn't one singing moment. Also, Leslie Nielsen was a dramatic actor? Oh, what's that, Ron? I watched the wrong one? Well, how come you didn't tell me that 90 minutes ago? Fine, I'll go watch the right movie. Excuse me. They're similar. They're nearly similar. This one is probably worse. This time, Brittany Snow had to watch her friends die. What's that, Ron? Oh, son of a... Listen, just take my word for it. Avoid movies based around prom. All that to say, Ryan Murphy's The Prom, the actual movie musical, is set to bring Broadway back. Kind of. Sort of. Based on the Tony Award-winning Broadway musical of the same name, this version is trying to capture the magic of the stage for the screen. And it's doing it rather quickly, too. The play itself debuted just a couple of years ago. Usually, the turnaround time from play to movie is close to a decade or more, but this thing went from the Atlanta Alliance Theater to Broadway in a matter of 2 years. The film is set up to be the biggest musical event of the year. Yes, even during a year in which the film version of Hamilton was released. I still haven't given that a watch. Just give me a... Wow, that was better than I thought. Although, why are all the parts played by those colored folks? Where are the white faces theater so desperately needs? I'm not here to comment on what makes a good or a bad stage-to-film version of a show. These are all subjective. Someone somewhere really thoroughly enjoys the Cats adaptation without the need of drugs and or alcohol. Those bohemian bums not paying rent is bound to be a favorite movie. I own 2 versions of Les Mis, the Hugh Jackman film, and the 25th anniversary stage version at an admittedly too big venue. The fact is, musicals in movie form are good and fun and make it easy for those without the funds to see them on the cheap. The Prom comes at a time in which Broadway performers are unable to hit the stage. The pandemic really screwed them over. Practices done, tours canceled, tickets can't be sold. The worst part is we don't know when they can come back. The timetable was initially a couple of weeks, weeks turn into months, months into more months. Now we're coming up on a year. Many, if not a majority of performers haven't worked since leaving the stage. They're not producers. They don't make anything on the back end. They're losing money, their livelihoods, thanks to this pandemic. The Prom joins an elite group of Broadway musicals turned films. In the 60s, only 5% of plays made it to the silver screen. Now that number is more like 41%. MTV aired the film version of the Legally Blonde musical. Note that I said the film version of the live show in lieu of the movie version on which the show is based. Ratings were huge, especially for a network that probably doesn't do so well outside of normal operation. And it only made ticket sales for the show grow. If the original trepidation behind not shooting a show or turning it into a movie while it was still on stage or on tour would kill sales, that has to be thrown out the window. Fans will probably still see Hamilton live, even though it's at their fingertips because of the experience. Ryan Murphy's latest effort on Netflix isn't even the streamer's last Broadway hurrah before the end of the month. An adaptation of August Wilson's Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is still on the way. If it's as any good as Fences, then I'm going to flip onto my Black Bottom. Doubt, I love that joke. Doubt, Fleabag, West Side Story, these are all fantastic translations of stage to screen. And it can be done, just like a play. It all depends on if it can capture what it's meant to capture while also being entertaining. Let's make sure not to have too many cat buttholes again. Gross. Listen, speaking of gross things, why don't you subscribe and check out one of our other videos? Of course, you can head to the website cpluscomedy.com where you'll see so many interviews with your favorite comedians that you'll question, how come I don't have a good job interviewing yet? You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at cpluscomedy. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ChadBlackWhite. Like us on Facebook. Listen to the Constitutionals podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Let's get the sin tally right now. Welcome back to News Time. I'm your host, Chad White,